YouTube, I'm back. Look, I missed a couple of days due to my schedule, but today I'm here to give you my top plays for today. And other than OKC, this has to be my favorite team to bet on. That team is the San Antonio Spurs. At the beginning of the season, it was the Knicks. So these are two teams that I really like to bet on. However, these are very good two defensive teams. So we're gonna look at the slate. We're gonna get straight into it. Now, New York is 2.5 favorites, minus 2.5 favorites. I'm not gonna lie. I put my main bet on San Antonio to cover the spread. I think that they'll actually win. The money line is plus money, but I bought alternate points and I put them at a -3. So that's my favorite play of the day. I think the Spurs will definitely steal it from the Knicks. I could be wrong, but with the Knicks being short on guards and San Antonio Spurs being a elite defense, and they got De'Aaron Fox who's super fast and can get steals. They got Stephon Castle who's a big guard. They got Dylan Harper off the bench who's a big guard. I don't think they have enough depth and honestly length to combat the depth and the length of the San Antonio Spurs. So I like them. And look at it. You got Wemby and Cat. I would like to say they cancel each other out. Cat will get you the points and the rebounds, but so will fucking Wemby. So I guess they cancel each other out. But at that point, you have Jalen Brunson and you have De'Aaron Fox. They don't really cancel each other out. But when you add Stephon Castle and De'Aaron Fox, and then you got Jalen Brunson, they cancel each other out. And then you got OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges. And while the San Antonio Spurs are so deep, you got Harrison Barnes who's shooting about 60% from the field, 50%, something like that. It's insane. So you got Vassell off the bench. So Keldon Johnson, I just like the Spurs way better, so I like them as favorites. But looking at the injury report, the Spurs are not really hurt. They only got one game time decision for a player who doesn't even have a picture, so I wouldn't be worried. Miles McBride, this is huge. He's like one of them other buckets. This is like the Stephon Castle of the Spurs, like that second guard that'll get you your bucket. Landry Shamet, which is your guard off the bench, he would get a decent amount, probably like 12, 15 minutes a game. Now, the Knicks, they score more points, but they shoot more threes, and which is going to contribute to one of our bets today. But both of these teams don't allow many points opposed to the points that they put up. They both shoot 48%. They both average around the 45 rebound mark. The Knicks, they usually get more assists than the Spurs. The Spurs obviously more blocks. You got Wemby and then steals. The Spurs are better with that. So it's a pretty even kill matchup, honestly. No wonder if we're looking at stats. Of course, the Knicks are going to be favorites if we're looking at points scored and points allowed and stuff like that. But I'm not rolling, bro. I think the Spurs are a better matchup now. If we look at the last five. We got the Knicks. They're hot. They're on a heater, bro. They beat Orlando. They beat Toronto, which is a really good team right now. They beat Orlando twice actually, and they were hooping. Utah, solid team, and Charlotte, they're getting their bangs. But if you look at the Spurs, I think that they played more competitors. Like if we look at OKC, the Lakers and Cleveland, they have three out of the top four scorers in the league. So that means that you have to not only stop them but outscore them as well, which they did at OKC, giving them their second loss of the season. They did it versus Luke and Braun and Austin Reeves. Close game with the Pelicans, but what's his name? Derek Queen had a 30-point triple double. They couldn't beat Donovan Mitchell, and they beat Orlando just like the Knicks beat Orlando. So I like the Spurs. I can sound a little biased, but I just think based off of matchups, the Spurs are just a better team here, personally. But if we get straight into our bets, you're gonna see my bets are heavily favoring the Spurs. So our very first pick. Give me 1 second. Ben, I'm gonna call you right back. I'm recording. I'm gonna call you in like 5 minutes. We got De'Aaron Fox's line is at 21 and a half. You know, I'm the king of buying points down, so I put him down at 20 plus points, but I also put him down at 21 and a half as well because when I did my research, him at that 20-point line for the whole season, he's covered the 21 and a half at 12 out of 17. But he had 20 this game, I believe. Um, so he didn't hit the line, but if you could buy the points down at 20, 20 is at minus 160. But versus teams in the top 10 in points allowed, he's 80% as far as how many teams. So if that's basically saying if he played five teams in the top 10 in points allowed in defense, uh, out of those 5 games, 4 of those games he covered the line versus a top defending team, which means he gonna get his buckets when he's playing teams that you know what I'm saying that don't allow you to score points. Now, that was at the 20-point line, and then we put it up to 21 and a half. I also put it up to 21 and a half, and it's still an edge, and it's actually a better edge because you get better odds. I look at this as at 20 points or 22 points for a leading scorer on this Spurs team. Now, granted, Wemby was out, so he had a lot more usage, but even with Wemby being back, the only person really taking from his shots now is Stephon Castle because he's been on a nice little run. But I look at this 22 points for De'Aaron Fox, who's averaging 23.9 points at a minus 105 odds as a low risk, high reward, or at least medium risk, high reward. Of course, you got Wemby, of course, and then you got Stephon Castle. So let's not say low risk, high reward. Let's say medium risk, high reward, simply for the simple fact of he just because Wemby is back and Stephon Castle is high right now, he may not need to drop these points that he's leading, but he takes 15 shots a game, my nigga. So like this, follow your heart. I like his line at 20. Me being scary, I probably would have taken the 20 plus. But his line at 21 and a half just has a better edge at minus 105. It just seems worth it to me. All right, our next bet we have is Stephon Castle. Like I told you, I'm heavily favoring the Spurs. I like this matchup and the abilities that are capable, the things that their players are capable of. So I have Stephon Castle for points and assists. His line is at 23 and a half. And at first I'm like, this is more of a high risk, high reward, right? His line is at minus 105. That's almost plus money. But 24 is kind of high for him, considering you got Wemby, considering you got, what's your name? De'Aaron Fox. His line is at 17 and a half alone. But if I go back and look at all these games, like they got him projected as under, but if we go back and look at all these games, he's hit it 10 out of the last 15. If we go this season, he's hit it 11 out of the last 16. Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? He's crushing the line. And this one, you can see he barely missed it. That's one. And not only am I just looking at this, he's 10 and 5 on the over and under as far as points and assists. It's a 68% win rate. Minus 105 is damn near half money. So there's an edge there that we're looking at. We love that edge right there. And it's not just that he's done it versus teams, obviously, because he's not playing the same teams. One of these teams could have been really bad. Like some of these games where he didn't hit, it could have been a blowout and he didn't play the fourth quarter. So you never really know. But we like to compare these stats to the teams that he's playing against. And well, the Knicks are a top 10 defense, like in points allowed. And he's done it a lot against top 10 defenses in points allowed. So it's not just 68% versus those top 10 teams. It's 68% versus all the games he's played. It's over 68% if we look at all the games that he did. I think that's a 83-32. I think minus 105 is like a 51%. So it's around there, maybe like a 63%. So it's around here as far as him actually covering this line versus opponents that are alike. This doesn't mean that it's guaranteed. This number right here doesn't mean that it's guaranteed. All this doesn't mean that it's guaranteed. But what that means to me is that it's highly probable. And him doing it against teams he's done it against before, highly probable. All right. This is my second pick. I really, really, really like this pick, especially because he's been so hot as of recently. Now, before we continue, I need you to drop a like on this video so that way when the next time I drop, if you don't have post notifications on, you'll see me pop up right in your recommended. So hit the like button. And not only that, I'm doing a $10 to $1,000 challenge, right? So I'm investing $10 into my betting account. I put this bet in today. The bet I chose was the Spurs plus 3.5 or plus 3. And I'm going to grow my bankroll to $1,000. So if you want to do that journey with me, if you want to see my picks, you feel me? You want to see how you can learn and kind of piggyback off what I'm doing, hit that subscribe button so you can see our journey and be a part of our journey. But without further ado, our next pick, Victor Wembanyama. He's definitely playing. I don't care about this DTD. We would know. He came back. His line is at 9.5 rebounds. He's projected at 10.6. I'm going to tell you, solely before I even looked at any stats, when I seen that he was playing the Knicks, before I even knew what the line was, I said, I'm going to look at Wemby rebounds. Actually, everybody that I did research on today, I did my research prior to me doing any research. Oh, sorry, I made my picks prior to doing any research. Meaning, I looked at Brunson. I put Brunson points on his paper. I put De'Aaron Fox points in his paper. I put Castle's points and assists on his paper. I put Wemby's rebounds. And my last pick I put on this paper. Off my simple knowledge, my ball knowledge, and me actually watching these games and knowing my matchups. And Wemby was one of those, like, no, I got to put Wemby on here for rebounds. Why? Because the Knicks have increased their shots over this last season. They're shooting way more threes, and now, granted, yes, they have Cat, who is either the leading rebounder or number two in rebounds. He's a monster on the boards. And they got Mitchell Robinson, who's also a monster on the boards. But those are, you know what I'm saying, defensive boards. This is fucking Wemby. He's 7'4". You asking a 7'4" dude to grab 10 boards versus a team who takes over 90 shots a game. Out of those 90 shots, he only needs to grab 10 rebounds. And granted, let's say he's not in for 30 of those shots. This is the NBA Cup. This is for I don't know if they get a ring, but they get a trophy. They get some money. Like, he's gonna play. Like, they're gonna play like this. They're gonna play for real. So he's gonna get his minutes. And they take 90 shots. That means Wemby's gonna have ample amount of opportunity to grab 10 rebounds, let alone offensive rebounds. 90 shots is just the opponents. They don't have no 7'4" motherfucker on the Knicks who can grab. Wemby will miss a layup and grab his own rebound, right? So that's why, off the top of my head, before I even looked at any stats, I love the pick of Wemby. But when we go down, look at the stats. Okay, he's 7-6 on the over/under. All right. Okay, boo-hoo. But if we look at the last 15, he hit 11 over the last 15 games. That's a 73% hit rate. His line is at minus 130. Minus 130, I can't tell you off the top of my head what minus 130 is. Let me see. I don't even want to guess. I'm not going to waste no time. But it's at minus 130. Now, he didn't hit it versus OKC. His line was at 10. Very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. But look at all these other teams. The other teams that he didn't hit against was Houston. These are actually top rebounding teams, too. So that's not something that you just don't pay attention to. But like I'm saying, like, have they played the Knicks this year? I don't even know if they played the Knicks this year. Golden State is also one of those teams. They shoot a lot of threes. And look, boom, Chicago, another one of those teams. They score a lot of threes, like that pace, that high-paced teams. New Orleans, they like to run. Who else likes to run? Miami, they like to run. You feel me? So these are teams that take a lot of shots, and he capitalized on every one of these. If we look at the 2025 season, I know he missed a lot of it. 9-13, that's 69%. But my guy, like, I'm taking it at minus 130. I've seen enough upside for it, and let's just get back to the last play. This is one of my most confident picks, I would say. And lastly, we got Harrison Barnes. After watching the Spurs, like I said, the Spurs are one of my favorite teams to bet on because I've just watched them. They are exciting to watch. They're a tough team. I think that if anybody could beat OKC this year, it would be the Spurs because I just think they match up well enough. Uh, he's 12-13 on the over under, which is okay, man, and not appealing to the eye, but they got him projected over. If you watch the Spurs, then you know Harrison Barnes is posted up in that corner and he's knocking that motherfucker down 60%, 70% of the time. You give him 10 shots in the corner, he gonna hit 7 of them bitches. Can't lie to you. His line is at 2. He didn't hit it last game versus OKC. But if you look at all these games that he hit it, these are versus teams who actually don't allow a lot of three-point attempts. However, when they play Harrison Barnes, he always covers that line. 3, 3, 4, 3, 2, 7, 4, 4, back to back, and he didn't hit it last game. I'm not a believer in patterns or anything. I like matchups better than anything, but he didn't hit none last game. I don't know how many attempts he had. OKC is one of those teams that don't allow a lot of attempts, but I see Harrison Barnes hitting 2 threes in the corner. He's 53%. His line is at minus 145, so it's really high. That's one of I think that's more of a low risk, low reward type of bet. So I wouldn't say that's my least favorite, but that would be my most confident. I would say. I say Wemby, but I can really expect Harrison Barnes to hit 2 threes in the corner. I've seen him do it one too many times. So my ultimate bet for today is the Spurs covering the spread. And then if I had to go with any of these other ones, I like really Wemby. Wemby for the 10 boards, the Castle points. I really like them all. I really do like them all. I really like them all. So pick out your favorite bet, parlay a couple of them if you want to. These are all simply straight bets. These are all simply for the fact of I want to put $50 up here to make 40, or I want to put $80 up here to make 70. Like, that's what the point of these videos are. But if you want to parlay them, go ahead and throw a little $2 on there, $3, $4, whatever you want to do. But I'll catch y'all boys tomorrow.